Well, hello everyone. This is Connie from Chaos to Peace Consulting, and I'm here with Linda Binns, the Breakthrough
Hi.
Energy Coach. And as every Wednesday lately, we're having a chat together. And today we're chatting why I say decluttering is self love, or clutter clearing is self love, or whatever. Letting go is self love. And we just talked about letting go last week on your channel, no? So it's
Yes,
kind of
yes.
like all the same topic, and it's about letting go or decluttering or clutter clearing of physical items. That's where we can start, but there's also mental clutter, emotional clutter, spiritual clutter, energetic clutter, digital clutter. Well, the world is full of clutter. And so maybe I want to just start and say one reason, and I start with one and then I'll let you say something. One reason why I say that decluttering is self love is because clutter stresses us out. And that is now actually scientifically proven. If we are a little sensitive, like a lot of my audience is, I believe yours too, because we both are highly sensitive. So our audience tends to be very sensitive. So we kind of could feel that always. Some may try to avoid it and become numb. Others may be overwhelmed with all the feelings, but we always could feel it. But now it's so awesome in a way because nobody can tell us anymore we're cuckoo. Science can prove that actually clutter stresses us out. So, and it makes us stressed, overwhelmed, and then we get sidetracked or we get stuck. We become very sluggish. In anything we do in our life, maybe in the body, but also in our mental space. And that creates a lot of, like I said, stuckness, but also we're not motivated to do anything. We're for sure not motivated to change. And a lot of people even get depressed. So, and they have a scientific study about that too. So, um, what would you say as an energy coach to how clutter stresses us out and how decluttering actually is self-love and looking after ourselves?
Well, as we often say, it's not about the stuff. So the clutter, if you have it, is a symptom of, it didn't happen overnight. It's a symptom of what's going on with you. And so you might think, the only problem I have in my life is that my room is cluttered, or I'm not organized or something like that. But it's a sign of a much deeper issue, that you're not satisfied with yourself, not satisfied with your life. Energetically, the two go hand in hand. This is why and you say decluttering is self-love, is because when you clear clutter, and I think everybody's had the experience perhaps of doing a spring clean, or suddenly you get a burst of energy, the weather's nice and you start clearing something and you feel good, you feel energized. And that's because you've let go of a lot of energy. It is like if you just imagine yourself just putting on this coat of just heavy energy. Having clutter around you is sort of like that. It weighs you down so much energetically. And we tend not to think about it in those terms because we think it's just stuff and it's something I have to do. And it's something I have to get to, something to add to my to-do list. And that's why we never really get to it. But it's so much more than that. And that's what, you and I really try to teach people, is that when you see it, I found that when you look at it from the perspective of energy, what is this doing to my energy? And also, what is it saying about me and what's going on with me in my life? That can help you to see it in a slightly different way, and can help you gather the momentum, if you like, to be able to do something about it. It really isn't about the stuff. That's just a sign of other things that are going on. But when you do clear the clutter, when you do organize and get rid of the stuff, it has an immediate beneficial impact on you and your energy. So yes, it definitely is self-love. And clutter then is the opposite of that, right? It's a way of treating yourself actually pretty badly.
Yeah. And I also, you made a comment about spring clean, and I do believe a lot of people do spring cleans. And I wanted to say is like, you notice how much dust has accumulated when you're doing a spring
Mm,
clean. You know how, like, and the more clutter we have, the more of the dust clings to all this. And
mm,
another reason why I'm saying decluttering is self-love is also because all this dust can create a health issue. Like if you're having troubles with your lungs, if you're asthmatic, that can be even worse for you. And then also, even if you don't have a lung condition, like if you're healthy, when you're living in an environment where this all this dust can even turn into mold and bacteria, then it becomes even more dangerous. And I mean, I was shocked once. I didn't know that for the longest time either, but I watched one of these renovation shows, which I loved for a while. I watched those, and uh, there was somebody in a house. They had to her husband died, and they first didn't know why, and then it turned out that because they had all their stuff and piled up on the wall, there was mold behind it, and it was in the bedroom. And so he died of mold spores or whatever. So I'm not a medical person, so I have no
mm.
idea how, but I mean, this is a serious health risk. So to not want to scare anybody, but I mean, it has health applications, like serious and real ones. Not like a lot of people still think, yeah, energy, yeah, whatever. But I mean, there is other real risks that are attached to this, which
Mm.
a lot of people don't realize now. So
Well, it's true, and it just well, and it makes it so much harder to clean as well.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, the more stuff you have, and you may think, well, you know, I don't have a lot. Some people have a lot. For some people, it's everywhere. They don't have a clear surface anywhere. And for other people, it's just minor. Maybe very often people will think that, oh, it's just in the cupboards or the closets or the pantry, just, you know, or the garage. You can't get the car in there. Um, you know, I just drive down my street, and it's amazing whenever somebody, many people have the garage door open, you know, and they always park their cars in the driveway, and I'm just stunned by the amount. There's just stuff crammed in there. You couldn't even walk in there. You couldn't even see anything that's in there. And I think if you knew what that was doing to you energetically, and you might say, well, you might, well, it can't affect my health because it's in the garage and I'm not in there all the time. But actually, it does. It doesn't matter even if you're not in there all the time. Yes, it does affect your health.
yeah.
Um,
And can I jump in here? Because like it's
yeah.
so funny because I talked about this in one of my podcast episodes, and I forgot the exact percentage now, but they did a study, and they say I think at least 60% of North Americans can't put their cars into the garage because their garage is full. And
Mm,
then there's another percentage where that could put at least one in, but the other can't go in because of all the stuff. And then when you think about it, they were saying too, is like when you think about it, so people, what do people pay for a car these days? Maybe they cost about $50,000 or something.
mhm.
So you have all kinds of crap and stuff in your garage that you usually put into your garage because you don't really care for it too much and you're too lazy or too overwhelmed or whatever to clear it out. But then you leave your $50,000 cars out in the elements, and on top of it, create a lot of other issues for yourself. Like depending on where you're living, like around here in winter, you have to scratch the car and de-ice it and whatever. And like that again is just a different level of self-love. If you actually have enough room for, like, just very practically, if you have enough room for your car in the garage, you can put it in the garage, and in the morning in winter it's warmer, you don't have to de-ice the windows. It's again self-love, because there's a lot of stress. A lot of people stress out because they didn't expect that it takes so long to get the car clear, and then they are late for work, and then they may be not driving safely because they're in a hurry. And this is all putting more stress on us, no? So Just
Well,
wanted to jump
yeah,
in with that because the garage is such a funny example
yeah.
financially, how we leave these expensive cars outside to store the stuff the clutter that we actually don't care
Well,
for.
yeah, you can't possibly be using it or needing it because it's just all piled up in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a great example, and it shows, I think, what you're giving your priority to, what what is your priority. Your priority in that case then is, storing all this stuff, making sure it doesn't get wet, keeping it in the garage, and not taking care of something that you've invested a lot of money in, that you need to be running well, to be functioning, to get you wherever you want to go. And people don't tend to think of it in that way. What is so important in there that you have to absolutely hang on to it, even though you can't find it, so you're not using it, but you can't let it go. Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. But the thing is, it just takes over. It becomes so overwhelming for people. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't know what to do with it. And just think of that. Okay, the reason you don't have the time and the energy and all of those things is because you have all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Because if so I talk a lot about too that it's not so much also to just get everything organized. It's more also like, how does my environment support me? And if you have like, if we stay with the car, if we have the car outside and gets frozen over and everything, you're not supporting yourself. So your environment is not supporting yourself because you're not you're not using the space how it is intended to. It's like intended for the car. You have all this energy drain while you're in your house because all this clutter is draining your energy, like you just explained earlier. And on top of it, you have to use so much more energy to go about your normal daily tasks. First of all, you probably have to, a lot of people leave their house through the garage, so you have to make sure you have a walkway through it or climb over. I mean, I have seen clients, they climb for weeks over some boxes. And I said, well, what keeps you from taking 5 minutes and move at least the box somewhere where you afterwards don't have to climb over it? And if you just start thinking from that perspective, and then how could I make my life easier if I have to go to work or run errands? How can I make this all easier on me, and create the environment that supports what I have to do on a daily basis,
Well, and it even goes deeper than that, because if we, as you know, I'm trained, I don't do it actively now, but trained in Feng Shui. So what Feng Shui teaches you is how energetically your home supports you, but it also shows you the different areas of your home as they relate to the different aspects of your life. And so depending on where that clutter tends to accumulate, it will be having even more of an effect on a particular aspect of life. So it could be relationships. You may be finding that you're struggling in relationships, or you're having a hard time finding a relationship, or you're constantly arguing in your relationship. And then, look to find that, well, the relationship area is completely cluttered. Or it could be money. It could be you're having difficulty with finances. It could be health. You have ongoing health issues that never seem to get better. But you have a lot of clutter in your area that relates to health. And okay, I know you'd have to learn a little bit about the energy layout of your home to understand this, but I just want to touch on that, because it goes so much deeper than just, oh, it's messy and I can't get in that room. Where is that room? What part of your life is that affecting? And is that what you want to represent that part of your life? So it's a lot more than just stuff. Really.
Yeah. And that's why I'm excited that when we do our master classes in December that
Yes.
you are actually gonna talk about this more. So because there's kind of a simple way, like we can always go deeper and more detail, but there's kind of a simple way how we can figure out in, like, if we have a lot of, let's say, money issues or relationship issues, in what area of our home we could start doing something about it. Like,
Yeah, we'll be doing, in fact, we're doing a series of 3 masterclasses, free, they're free, at the end of December after Christmas. And the very first one is, we'll be going through exactly this. We'll be doing the energy layout of your home, and you will identify exactly where all the areas are in your home as they relate to different aspects in your life. And we'll be looking at what's going on in those areas and how are they supporting you or maybe even sabotaging you. So yeah, you'll walk away with that understanding of exactly what the layout is. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
yeah, me too, because you can do, that's why I'm saying a few minutes a day, keep the chaos away. We can do already with just tweaking. Even people who feel like they don't have a lot of clutter, just with changing some things and making the environment more supportive and the energy flowing better. Very practical also. We don't have to, like, we can go from the practical all the way to the spiritual, and it always works. And wherever people are and are comfortable with, they can actually do something about it to improve their life, to improve their health. And another thing I also wanted to say is, oftentimes I notice too that the rooms that people are cluttered, and that has nothing to do with Feng Shui necessarily, but maybe you prove me wrong and it does. But what I notice is a lot of people, that you can read the self-worth that they have about themselves on where the clutter is. And I just want to say one thing, like when I'm helping my clients, especially women, when they're working from home, their office is oftentimes the dumping ground. And then just, you don't even have to be an expert on anything. Just think about, okay, so your office is your dumping ground. How much worth do you put on your business, but also how much worth or self-worth are you putting on yourself, or others that maybe don't have a business, they often use their bedroom as their dumping ground. And then,
I have very strong opinions about that, but we
oh
won't
yeah,
go
I know, I don't want to get you on a roll here, but
no, don't get me started.
I'm more saying, like, it also shows you a little bit, without knowing that layout of Feng Shui or anything. Just think about, what does the office, for example, represent for you? That's where you want to make money. That's where you're making a living, but you're using it as a dumping ground. I don't know whether that fits so well together.
Well, I've seen oh gosh, so many different examples along that same theme. People will often, in a house, I've seen women where they've started their own business, and one woman had her office in a closet. So you literally open up the doors of the closet, and she's got this tiny little desk she's facing right up against the wall, and she's trying to run a business from in there, or it could be a little corner of the kitchen or whatever. And maybe that's all the space you have. And if that's all the space you have, then you work with that space and you make it work for you. However, I often see in a house where they say, well, I just don't have any other space. And you look around and there's a spare bedroom that nobody uses, that has become the dumping ground. Or perhaps there's a dining room. And they say, well, we don't use the dining room, so that's the dumping ground. Well, here you are in this little closet, or this, the corner of the kitchen. Well, why don't you take that dining room, since you're not using it as a dining room, turn that into your office, turn that spare bedroom into your office, instead of having it as the dumping ground, because that would be more of an act of self-love than shoving yourself in a closet when you have this whole room, full of stuff. So there are many examples like that. But yes, it's just because the builder said, okay, this is a dining room. If you don't need a dining room, don't use it as a dining room. Use it for something. People will say, well, I want a workout room, but I don't have the space. Use that as your workout room. Whatever you want to use it for, make it work for you.
I have actually a good example for that, because this house I'm living in now, as well as the last one, not the last one I was living in, both the master bedroom was the most gorgeous room with the biggest windows, beautiful and everything. And whatever spare bedroom there was dark and dungy and not very inviting. And so in both places, my office is actually in the so-called master bedroom. Of course, you wouldn't notice now that it is a master bedroom because it is an office now. But that is exactly it. Just because the builder or whoever lived there before decided this is the master bedroom, doesn't mean it has to be that way. And
Right.
I understand a little bit about Feng Shui, not as much as you, but a little bit. But I mean, where I have my office, this is towards the road in the south, brightest room ever. So possibly not the best room to sleep in it either. So I have now the room that is the furthest away from the door and actually in the back, away from all the noise. And I sleep just wonderfully. And I have this gorgeous, bright room as my office. As you can see right now, not even the blinds down.
Well, it just makes it's energetically, it's common sense, because for an office, you want activity, you want energy, you want brightness, you want space. And for sleeping, you want calm. You want towards the back of the house. You know, and you want the energy to be lower. So it just makes sense. I love that you're making the house work for you rather than saying, oh well, okay, well I guess I should put my office in there because this is the master bedroom. You know, you make it work for you.
I'm always surprised. So like I totally agree that our bedroom should be our sanctuary, or no, should, it needs to be our sanctuary. It needs to be a very nice, nurturing place, but that doesn't mean it has to be the most gorgeous room in the house, because you're usually most people only sleep in it. So you're not even enjoying it, that it is such a great room, no? So
well, you want it to feel good in there. You want to surround yourself with things that feel good. I mean, you want a good bed that's comfortable, that you love your bed, right? You spend a lot of time in there, so you want to love your bed. And if, you know, whatever furniture you have in there, make sure it's not the remnants of something, but it's things that really work for you, things that you really enjoy, you love, and that give you plenty of storage, so your stuff's not all over the place. But it doesn't mean that you have to have the best physical room. But you can turn it into your sanctuary just by the things that you have in there. And I'm not talking about spending lots of money or, you know, doing lots of things to it. Just make sure you have things that really speak to you, that you really love, that feel good to you.
Yeah, and again, like you just said, you want to have the office, you want to have some movement. So like there's a road, there's really not a lot of traffic on it, but because there's not a lot of traffic on it, when somebody drives by, you actually notice it. So, but when I'm in my bedroom in the back, I don't hear it because I'm in the back. So
that's what you want.
we can just use logic too. If some people are fond of logic, we can just use logic too and look at the house and the space in a logic way and ask ourselves, what makes sense, you know?
Well, you know, self-love is making your environment work for you. And if that means decluttering, then, you know, do that, because if you have a lot of clutter, then your environment is not working for you. It isn't. You've got space that you can't use. You've got stuff that's weighing you down and holding you back. You know, it is not working for you. So, and if you say, well, I'm just too tired, I don't have time, I'm just overwhelmed with it all, even more good reason to do something about it, because it is controlling you.
And it's a health threat. It's a health threat. Because the more exhausted and overwhelmed you are, the more prone you're also, like your immune system might not be as strong as it could be. And then you might become physically sick too. I mean, we don't want to scare anybody, but I mean, it has a lot of implications, this clutter. It's not just stuff that sits somewhere and doesn't mean anything.
Right. Well, you can ask yourself, you know, okay, what am I making my highest priority? Because if I'm not making that, clearing that my highest priority, what am I making my highest priority? And usually it will be, well, I don't have time because I've got my family, or I'm busy working. I'm trying to, be successful in my career. Well, all of that stuff is actually making it more difficult for you to be successful in your career or to have a happy family life. So if it should be your priority, you would make so much more progress in your life, in every aspect of your life, by dealing with the clutter and making that the priority than by anything else you do. It's like we're fighting upstream all the time. It's like you having this huge weight behind you, just dragging it along with you as you go.
Yeah, and if anybody is interested in hearing more about that, 2 weeks ago on this channel, we talked about priorities and values. And that's actually when we talked about this. This is so true.
Yeah.
Well, Linda, we could talk for I don't know how long. We see each other again next week.
We will. We'll be on my channel next week, and we'll be talking about another energy-related topic. And then soon we'll be sharing the sign-up details for our 3-day masterclass that people can sign up for. I'm excited about that, and we'll be sharing more details soon.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. As always, awesome talking with you, Linda. And
you too.
Thanks so much for bringing your expertise to this conversation on my channel. Thank you so much. And see you next week.
Thank you. All right. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.